Okay. So, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Let me clear it once, then we'll continue this class. Okay. So, yes, now I think I'm audible. Yeah. So, uh, welcome you again in this DSA series. So, अभी तक हमने इस सीरीज में कवर कर लिया है एरे के कुछ ऑपरेशंस जहाँ पर हम अभी डिस्कस कर रहे थे सॉर्टिंग एल्गोरिथम्स एरे 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 पे जो हम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं जिसमें हमने बबल सॉर्ट और सिलेक्शन सॉर्ट कंप्लीट कर ली थी ना आज के क्लास में मैं कुछ क्वेश्चन हम यहाँ पर कुछ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करेंगे ताकि जो प्रैक्टिस है हमारी वो भी कंटिन्यू रहे साथ ही साथ जो हमारा कोर्स है वो भी आगे बढ़ता रहे सो एल्गोरिथम्स के साथ साथ हमें कुछ क्वेश्चंस भी एरे के प्रैक्टिस करने चाहिए तो इसीलिए हम यहाँ पर अभी बेसिक्स एकदम एरे के बेसिक वाले क्वेश्चन स्टार्टिंग में भी सॉल्व करेंगे फिर उसके बाद लीड कोड के भी कुछ क्वेश्चंस हम यहाँ पर सॉल्व करने वाले हैं so very first question for today is like to find largest element, right? Find largest element. This is the first question. Okay. Now you know how can we traverse in an array. You know how can we access element from an array. You know how can we how can we add data at a particular index in an array. You know everything about array, right? Now today's question now from in today's class we'll solve few questions related to array so that your practice will continue और जिसके साथ साथ हम कंटिन्यू करेंगे हमारे सॉर्टिंग टेक्निक्स को आने वाली क्लासेस में तो आज की क्लास में हम कुछ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लेते हैं तो हमारा फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन होने वाला है वो होने वाला है फाइंड लार्जेस्ट एलिमेंट मीन्स वो मीन्स जो पूरा क्वेश्चन होने वाला है वो होने वाला है कि हमें एक एरे की लाइक यू विल हैव गिवन एन एरे योर टास्क इज टू फाइंड आउट ग्रेटर एलिमेंट और लार्जेस्ट एलिमेंट फ्रॉम एन एरे so this is the question right so let's understand this using an example suppose you have given an array 5 2 3 and 4 1 so this is an array right your task is to find out what's the largest element from an array. So the largest element is 10. So output is 10 here, right? तो हमें वही output is 10 को बताना है ये तो हमें भी दिख रहा है कि yes the largest element in this array is 10. But what if you have to write a program to find out that element, the largest element? Then उसके लिए क्या? Okay, so this is your question. This is today's question. So first of all, the first approach. Now let's discuss about approach. How can we solve this? The first approach is very first approach is let's sort this array. It is 10. Why? Because after sorting, we know our elements of an array will be arranged in ascending or descending order, right? So this time we are arranging it in ascending order, in increasing order. तो अगर हमारे एलिमेंट को इंक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में अरेंज कर देते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली जो लास्ट जो ग्रेटर एलिमेंट होगा कहाँ पर जाके स्टोर हो जाएगा एट द लास्ट इंडेक्स तो हम हर बार बोल सकते हैं क्या कि हमें कोई भी एरे दो भाई हम उसको सबसे पहले क्या करेंगे सॉर्ट करेंगे देन उसके बाद क्या करेंगे उसके बाद जो लास्ट इंडेक्स पे जो भी एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट होगा हम उसको बोल लेंगे कि यस दिस इज द ग्रेटेस्ट एलिमेंट दिस इज द लार्जेस्ट एलिमेंट सो दिस इज अ फर्स्ट अप्रोच व्हाट फर्स्ट विल सॉर्ट एरे हम सबसे पहले क्या करेंगे एरे को सॉर्ट करेंगे देन उसके बाद लास्ट इंडेक्स वाले एलिमेंट को प्रिंट करा देंगे सो ये हमारे होने वाला है हमारा लार्जेस्ट एलिमेंट इसको मैं एक बार कोड में भी एक बार इंप्लीमेंट करके देख लेते हैं देन उसके बाद हम मूव करेंगे टू सेकंड अप्रोच वेट सॉरी यस what there I'm getting okay so here is code for selection sort uh, let's remove it and let's make a So let's make one project here. Array questions. Okay, array questions is the name of our package. And after it, let's create one file here, which is basic question, basic question, and let's define main method here. So here is main method. So what we'll do, we'll write one method for every question. हर एक क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने का जो हर एक क्वेश्चन का जो लॉजिक रहेगा, हम उसको एक मेथड के अंदर उसको सॉल्व करने का लॉजिक हम हमारी मेथड के अंदर लिखेंगे। तो सबसे पहले एक मेथड बना लेते हैं, पब्लिक int, एंड यहाँ पर हम मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप रख देते हैं, इसको स्टैटिक भी बना लेते हैं ताकि हमें ऑब्जेक्ट का बनाना पड़े। पब्लिक स्टैटिक int, name of method is create element is name of our method, greater ELE. Now here I will declare one array as a parameter. Now, so this is this is the name of this method. Now, what this method will take an array as an input, sorry, as a argument, and it will return greater element from an array. राइट, जो भी एरे के अंदर जो भी ग्रेटर एलिमेंट होगा हम उसमें से इस मेथड से क्या रिटर्न करवा देंगे, वो एलिमेंट को रिटर्न करवा देंगे। तो हमारा लॉबी लॉजिक क्या, हम सबसे पहले एरे को सॉर्ट करेंगे। सो सी, हियर वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू यूज एनी सॉर्टिंग एल्गोरिथम। यहाँ पर हमारे पास जावा के अंदर एक मेथड होती है विच इज अ सॉर्ट मेथड। हम क्या करेंगे, सीधा सॉर्ट मेथड का यूज करेंगे। हम लिखेंगे यहाँ पर एरेज डॉट sort, and यहाँ पास करते हैं हमारा array. So see, this sort method is a static method which is present in this arrays class. So that's why we are able to call this method without creating object of this. So I hope you know about it. Like if we have any static method, then we don't need to create object. We can easily call it by the name of that class, right, where it is defined. So हमने यहाँ पर उसी तरीके से static method को हमने ओनली क्लास के नाम से हमने इसको कॉल कर लिया, देन हियर वी हैव पास दिस एरे। सो आफ्टर दिस, आफ्टर एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ दिस लाइन, हमारे एरे के अंदर जो भी एलिमेंट होंगे वो क्या हो जाएंगे, सॉर्ट हो जाएंगे। देन उसके बाद हमें कौन सा एलिमेंट चाहिए, लास्ट वाला एलिमेंट। हम क्या करेंगे, वेरिएबल मैं डिक्लेयर कर लेता हूँ मैक्स, इसके अंदर से एरे का लास्ट एलिमेंट हम निकालेंगे। सो वी नो दैट लास्ट एलिमेंट इज प्रेजेंटेड व्हाट इंडेक्स, इट इज प्रेजेंटेड लेंथ माइनस वन इंडेक्स। Why? Because we are like array is a zero based indexing, right? In element, like elements are stored in an array using a zero based indexing. So first element is present at a zero index. Second, just wait. So see, first element present at zero index, second element present at first index, third element present at fourth index, fourth element presented, third index, fifth element presented, fourth index, sixth element presented, fifth index. So in this way, if we have to find out nth element, which is the last element, then at what index it will present? It will present at n minus one index. So if we have a five element, if we have a six element, then last element is present at fifth index. If we have a 10 element in an array, then last element is present at the ninth index. So if we have an element, then last element is present at n minus one index. So we have to find out that last element. So what we'll do, we'll write. So first of all, we'll calculate and what is the length of this array. So we'll write arr dot length. This is a property. We discussed about this in previous classes. Now here we'll write n minus one. So this is last index. Now then after this, we'll return this maximum element. Now let's declare one array here, and arr is equal to 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, and 15, and 7, and 8. Okay, so suppose here is an array. Now let's call this method. What's the name of this method? It is a greater element, and let's give it arr. Now this method will return us a greater element, so let's print that element on a console window. तो हमने यहाँ पर क्या कर लिया, इसको प्रिंट एलिमेंट के अंदर मेथड कॉल कर लिया। मेथड हमें क्या रिटर्न करेगा, इस एरे का ग्रेटर एलिमेंट हम उसको यहाँ पर प्रिंट करवा देंगे। नाउ लेट्स रन दिस कोड एंड सी व्हाट्स द आउटपुट फॉर दिस। See, greater element is 15. So you can see in this array what's the largest element? It is 15. So this logic is working correctly. Okay. So let's talk about second approach. Now, first of all, see what's the time complexity of this code. Like why we need to move towards second approach. Why this is not optimized and why it is not like good, right? So see, here we are using a sorting. So this method, this sort method takes n log n time to sort an array, right? So the time complexity of this code is order of n log n. The time complexity of first approach is order of n log n. Now we need to optimize this. That's why we need to move to the second approach. So let's discuss second approach to solve this question. Now see, here is an array. Uh, let's copy it here. Now, see. So what's the second approach? Second approach is very simple. What we'll do, we just mm, uh, traverse this array and we will maintain one variable which is max, and we will assume that element which is present at the first index, at a zero index, at the first element which is present at the first position, or we can say element which is present at the zeroth index, is the small is the largest element or greatest element of this array. We are assuming that we haven't traversed this array yet. We are assuming that element which is present at this zero index is the greatest element, is the largest element of this array. Now, what we'll do after that? We'll traverse this array from this index, from first index, and we'll try to find out greater element, which is greater than this max, because here we are assuming that element which is presented as zero index is the greater element. Now, our task is to find another greater element which is greater than this max. If we'll get it, then we'll update this max to that element. So this is the approach. So हम क्या करेंगे, यहाँ से हम एक लूप चलाते हैं, मतलब ट्रेवर्स करने के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, ऑब्वियसली लूप को चलाना पड़ेगा. तो हम यहाँ से क्या करेंगे, एक लूप चला देंगे. ठीक है, तो you know how can we traverse this array? So here we have to traverse our array from the first index. So I will use pointer and will traverse. So see here. Now, what is element present at the first index? It is 2. Now, is 2 greater than max? No, no. That 2 is not greater than max. हम क्या करेंगे, हम इसको अपडेट कर देंगे बाय 1 और हमारा जो पॉइंटर हो जाएगा मूव कर जाएगा टू द नेक्स्ट इंडेक्स. नाउ अगेन हियर विल चेक what is the element present at the second index. It is 3. Now, is 3 greater than this max? No, no, no. 3 is not greater than this max. Then what we'll do, we'll again update this I by 1 and I will point to this time. First, the element present at this third index, element is 10. Is 10 greater than max? Yes, 10 is greater than max. Then now, here, we got a new greater element. Till now, we assume that 5 is a greater, but here we can say we found a new greater limit which is 10. Now this time we'll update max to 10 and update this pointer by 1 and we'll look for a new greater limit, right? So again here, element which is present at a fourth index is 4. Now 4 is not greater than max. Why? Because max element is 10 and this current element is 4. 4 is not greater than max. Then again we'll update this by 1. So see, I will update to this index again. Element is 1. The element which is presented for fifth index is 1. Now, is 1 greater than max? No, no, 1 is not greater than max. Then what we'll do, we'll update this by 1. So here we have traversed this array and you can see element which is present at this max variable is the largest, is the greatest element of this 10. That is the greatest element. So this is how we can find out greater or largest element of an array. I hope you understood this. This is very simple approach to solve this question. Okay, so now let's uh, write logic here. So what we are doing here? We have declared one variable x is equal to ARR of 0. Means what? Element which is present at a 0 index. So the first element of an array is the greater element we assume. After that, this fail. Okay. So see, max is we assume that this is a max element which is presented as 0 index is a max element. Then after that, we'll traverse array. So we'll start traversing from the first index until n, and every time we'll update I by 1. Here we are writing one condition. If we got any new greater element, then that time we'll update max by 1. And we'll write if ARR of I, it means current element is greater than to this max, and this time we'll update this max to this current element, which is CR. So this is a simple logic. Okay. Now let's implement this. So I will clean this here. I will clean this code and write our new second approach here. So second approach is here we'll declare one max variable into max is equal to ARR of 0 means element which is presented as 0 index is a, we assume that this is a maximum element, largest element. Then we'll traverse. So we'll run a loop. First of all, we'll declare one variable n and here we'll calculate size of this length of this array. Now, I until less than n, I plus plus and yeah, here we'll write one condition if ARR of I is greater than to this max, then this time we'll update this max to ARR of I. And after this, we'll return max to this method. And now everything will be same. Now let's run this code. So see this time again, maximum element. Let's okay, let's make it attractive. So I will print one message. The largest element is yes. Now let's run this time. Yeah. So the largest element is 15 because 15 is the greater largest element of this array. So this is the second approach to solve this question. Okay. Now let's discuss time complexity and space complexity of this code. So see now here is code. Now for this array, like here we have six element. At one time, how many times this loop will run? So it will run for six times only, right? Because हमें क्या करना है यहाँ पर only traverse करना है हमारे array को. And once it will traverse, then we can say inside this max will have a greater element of this array. So suppose if we have a n element, then how many times this loop will run? It will run for n times. So that's why time complexity of this code is order of n. And space complexity is order of yeah. Why? Because we are not using any extra space to solve this question. Okay, so this is time complexity is order of n, space complexity is order of one. Here time complexity is order of n log n, and space complexity is order of one. So this second one, this approach is better than this first one because here we are taking a more time as compared to order of n. So yes, this is how we can solve this question. Now, like I have one homework question, homework problem for you. This time we have, uh, yeah, this time we have found greater element, largest element of an array. Now, your question is to find out the smallest element. Homework question, let me write here. Homework question is to find smallest element in an array. So this is your question. Um, so try to solve this, and अगर हो जाए then it's good. It means you are getting, you are like understanding what I'm trying to say here and what I'm trying to explain here. So, okay, let's continue this class from tomorrow and कल से हम फिर से हमारे जो एल्गोरिथम्स है उसको कंटिन्यू करेंगे और कंटिन्यू करेंगे इंसर्शन सॉर्ट से. So thank you everyone.